Bro, please try and do a video on how to master the OSCE 2. Alright, so I'm going to do that now. You see, when I was preparing for my OSCE, there's something I did. I felt like I have to document everything I was doing that was helping me, because at that point I felt like somewhere in the future someone may ask of this, or someone may need this information to also pass his or her OSCE, and here is it. So I'm going to share with you some of the stuff that I documented that were helping me with my OSCE preparation. So when I came in here, I had no idea about OSCE. I'm not like those people who read much about it when they were in their home country. No, I felt like, let me just come in here, let me focus on the IELTS, let me focus on the CBT, and when I come in here, I'll focus on the OSCE. So that was my plan. And in the course of my preparation, there are a few things I wrote down. The first thing I would like to say is that, you see, if you are new to OSCE, I want you to understand that you have to scrutinize the OSCE format and then the structure first. Don't just jump into it. Don't just say, okay, now we've started OSCE, so let me just start practicing. Understand how many stations are there for the OSCE. How many stations will you be doing? Also find out how many minutes are used to complete each station. Okay, sit down, pick up your jotter, and then put out all this important information. What makes up each station? So now there are 10 stations. 4 stations are for skills, 2 are for professional values and evidence-based, and I think the other 2 are for something else I'll talk about when we get there. Also, you have to sit down and ask yourself, so what is the examiner expecting from me? Okay, so these are important bits and pieces you have to look at. And where can I seek for further sources of information about the OSCE? Sit down and then structure all this stuff, and when you have done that, you are ready to zoom into the next action. So when I had done this, the next thing I did was to gather enough specific materials for rehearsals. When I say gather enough specific materials, what I mean is that, you see, depending on the hospital or the healthcare facility you are working with, they've got a specific test center they register their candidates for the OSCE. So first of all, when you get to the trust or the hospital, they would, if you are very lucky, they may have a OSCE training center. Now the OSCE trainers may give you some practice materials pertaining to the test center they normally register their candidates for. Okay, so mostly for me, that is what I use. My hospital gave me the OSCE practice material, so that is what I had to rely on. So gather enough OSCE practice materials to start off with. So I remember with the test center, when my hospital booked me for the OSCE, they created an account for me so I could access loads of practice materials and then do my practice with. The next thing I did that did help me was to rehearse under pressure. Rehearse under pressure. What do I mean by this? You see, rehearsing the OSCE is an integral part of the candidate's success. It's an integral part of your success, and you should have time and space to consistently practice on your own. But then that isn't so effective in the sense that, remember, you don't really know the examiner you are going to meet, okay? And to save yourself of that stress, so at a point you have to invite a friend who can come in and then assess your practice. I remember during those days I had some Ghanaian friends in here who had already come in and then passed their OSCE. So in the course of our preparation, we do invite them over to assess us, to watch us, rehearse, and then afterwards they give us feedback. This is one way to prepare under pressure, because you don't know the examiner you are going to meet, and as to whether she will be friendly or not, you have no idea. So get somebody who can put you under pressure during your practice, so that it's like in the course of your practice you are releasing tension, you are releasing stress. It's like you've already put yourself in that situation the unknown examiner will put you through. So that's one thing I also did. And I also did watch OSCE videos on YouTube. I would advise you do that. Just go on YouTube and search for OSCE. Probably you get loads of videos to watch. People will share their experiences, the challenges they went through, some of the techniques they had to adopt to pass once. Some will share with you how they failed, and a whole lot of that. So just go there and watch those videos. And I also advise that, let me say there's one thing I did that obviously helped me a lot, especially when I had no one to practice with. And if you are that person watching me and then it's like you don't get your friends to practice, especially you're a Ghanaian nurse in the trust and you don't know anybody to practice your OSCE with, I would say that make your camera the examiner. How do you do this? Set your camera at one point. Get your stars ready, set your camera at one point, and then hit the record button. Start your procedure. Okay, disregard how many minutes it may take to do that. After the whole thing is done, do a replay and then watch yourself and sit down, pick up your jotter and write those areas you missed. They are very important. Now once you've done this assessment, repeat the procedure again, record, and compare the first video you took to the second video. Now ask yourself, so did you repeat the same mistakes you did in the first video? If yes, then what this means is that you have to consistently do it to cut down the number of mistakes you make. If the number of steps you made has reduced, then it means that you are gradually improving. Okay, so there is one thing I did that did help me. And I also say that note down the mistakes you consistently make. I've talked about that. And one thing I did was that I had a defense mechanism. I'll talk about this extensively in my next video. And also develop a personalized system. It's an important thing I'll talk about. I'll have to explain much more further. So these are the 8 things I did that did help me master the OSCE. If you want more, please hit the plus button so that I can be notified of my next video.